This is Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in San Jose at the California Democratic Party Convention. We are joined by Adrin Nazarian. He is a member of the California State Assembly, representing significant portions of Los Angeles County, which we know has and will continue to be impacted by earthquakes and the fear of earthquakes. There has been some legislation passed locally and statewide requiring certain retrofits. Last year, you were part of a team that looked to give a tax credit for those engaging in those retrofits. Tell us about that plan before you tell us the punchline.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me.
Of course.
It's great to actually be conducting this interview at the convention.
Right,
also,
it is.
It's a time of new commitments
right.
and renewing our old commitments as well. Thank you for bringing it up. Last year I had a bill, AB Assembly Bill 428, that allowed a 30% tax credit to qualified costs of commercial or privately owned buildings or homes.
There was a lot of excitement surrounding that bill. The LA Times covered it extensively. It passed both houses with there was maybe one no vote on the Senate side. Everyone expected this bill would march through and then receive a signature, but I'm giving away the punchline. Keep going.
But then unfortunately the governor vetoed the bill, and it was a string of bills that he vetoed, I think about 9, because there hadn't been sufficient work done on passing certain other programs that would ensure up to $1 billion worth of revenue coming in for the state.
Which was focused upon the healthcare side of California's budget and deals with certain requirements of the federal government. But my question then, sir, is that should you, meaning the members of the legislature, not been made aware that this was an important element to the governor? Because you went through this whole process, went through several committees. If you had just known you wanted the MCO tax handled, you wouldn't have gone through this grief.
But that's unfortunately what happens sometimes. When the conversation starts, you don't exactly know where it's going to go.
Fair enough.
So both conversations were happening at parallel times.
Right.
And so one didn't go forward, which forced several other issues also to not go forward.
But his concern in his veto message was, we don't know if we're going to face further fiscal pain like we did a few years back, and I'm reticent to give a tax credit that will hurt California's bottom line. But sir, I mean, we're flush with cash. At a certain level, does that strain credulity?
Well, if we keep on talking about it that way, then we might be going through our cash a little too quickly as well.
Fair enough.
So prudence is not a bad thing. I actually respect and appreciate the governor's steady hand in ensuring that we're not really committing ourselves too quickly without asking all the important questions.
Okay.
When it comes to seismic retrofit, though, it's not a matter of when. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Meaning the credit or the need for it?
No, we know we have the need for it because it's just a matter of time until the big one hits. We have a severe fault line in California.
Yes, we do. Right through your district, I think.
Right through Los Angeles, right through the base of the Hollywood Hills, and we also are very seismically active in other parts of the state that are going to benefit from this. Most recent wake-up call being in Napa.
Right.
What happened?
So do you feel as if, sir, that with apparent movement on the MCO tax, the managed care organization tax, to get in line with the federal government, that if you brought this bill up again, this 30% credit, that we could see a signature?
I'm optimistic, but I don't like to take chances and invest all my eggs in one basket.
So what does that mean then?
So what I've done is last year I also pushed for funding of the Brace and Bolt program. It's an existing program from 2011 that invests about up to $3,000 of grant money to defray bracing and bolting programs.
I got the flyer here.
Thank you so much.
I got the flyer.
Thank you.
So this is a credit itself?
This is a outright grant.
Oh, it's a grant. Got it.
It's a grant. There's a application process and then a lottery system. We were very fortunate that there was great interest. About 4,000 people applied. Unfortunately, only about 1,600 of them might be qualifying for this year. But with that level of interest, it just gives further gives further enforcement to the idea that we need to continually invest in this program.
Simultaneously, you're running a bill that deals with what's known as the PACE program. A bit inside baseball, but I think important for our viewers to understand. PACE standing for Property Assessed Clean Energy. Fascinating formula. Explain how the program works now and how you hope to amend it.
It's basically a program that allows there to be a special tax levy on your property.
Okay.
So
voluntary tax levy.
Voluntary,
you have signed off for it.
Absolutely. And what that allows you to do is then utilize that money to finance some of the efficient program, cost-saving energy programs that you can install onto your property.
So you're basically entering into a loan with, would it be your county?
Yes.
With your county and saying, I need to make these upgrades, and in this case, you're trying to include seismic upgrades into the plan. Is that correct?
Yes.
And as a result, I'm going to pay it off almost like an impound in a way. I'm going to pay it off of my property taxes. What do you think? I mean, it seems...
And it doesn't move, it stays with the property. So once you've sold the property and have moved on, it stays on with the property.
Well, that's interesting. And the owner, the new owner would know that. It'd be disclosed presumably. So how do you feel about this program and its success? Do you think it's going to, do you need legislation to get this passed?
We do need legislation because even though the seismic program already exists, it needed to be expanded to allow other programs.
Meaning retrofits?
Yes, retrofit related programs under different areas of statute to be allowed.
I must ask you, how did this come to your understanding? I mean, it's pretty inside baseball. How were you made aware you needed to make this fix?
Well, sometimes, one of the things is when you start pushing forward on an issue, a lot of different folks realize the interest you have, and as somewhat of a, when you take it on, then other folks want to join you and offer support. And so this was a bill idea that came about from several individuals who saw my interest and wanted to offer some other ways of trying to advance this issue.
If I may, I wanted to ask you about a topic we've discussed in the past, and that is your Armenian descent. And the reason I ask you that is we're at this California Democratic Party convention, and there are a lot of groups here, including an Armenian club, I guess, with a very significant presence. I'm looking down the aisle. Talk to me about this, about why the Armenian community is present in such a significant way here at this Democratic convention.
That's funny. So shifting from policy now to, I guess, political engagement.
Well stated.
I think that's what makes California so special as well, because you got to talk about the context of how things happen. Armenian community is not monolithic in any way. Comes from various Middle Eastern countries. After the diasporan experience, very similar to the Jewish experience, because of the genocide, Armenian genocide, back around the turn of the previous century.
We just memorialized the 100th anniversary.
Yes. You have folks coming in from all over the place, and especially what's going on in Syria also is a reminder.
Because there are many Armenians living in Syria, as I understand
who are coming out on a daily basis.
But what is it? It just seems interesting because, look, the country of Armenia, 3 million people.
Yes.
The Armenian diaspora, 3 million. But yet...
No, probably even more.
It
significantly more. Yeah.
But my perception is Armenians are engaged and... speaking with one voice. I don't mean so much politically, but I mean this is a community that really takes their civic duty seriously.
Well, like anything else, when you finally are catching your breath, first you're trying to survive.
Yes.
When you finally caught your breath, then you're thinking about the next generation.
Right.
So the Armenian community who came to California starting about a century ago were just trying to overcome all of the challenges, all the losses.
But you must be pretty proud to see Armenian posters and buttons and everything
because
like
it's
that.
the next generation now. It's the next level of engagement.
You're not so old. His name is Adrin Nazarian. He is a member of the California State Assembly. We're in San Jose today at the California Democratic Party Convention on Brad Pomerance's Charter Local Edition. Good to see you.